Hi
Hey
guys!
y'all!
Welcome back to Y'all Hearing This. My name is Kay. Thank you so much for coming back and joining us.
Yes, and my name is Honeybee, or you can call me B, and whichever you choose is all right with me. I
don't know.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I was inspired for Jazz Fingers today.
I'm here for it. Yeah. It's giving Liza.
That's right. Spirit Fingers.
Right, yes, and all that jazz.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. So we, every Wednesday, we focus on a new artist or group.
Mm-hmm.
We do a couple MVs, we do a live and a dance practice, we do a guide. And today, in this video, we're doing a podcast. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Welcome back to the podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we are talking about 2NE1 this week, and we have been loving everything we've learned about them. They're the songs that we've heard by them, their personalities. That was a great guide to get into that.
Yeah.
And we did do a little some Google searching just so we had some more stuff to talk about on the podcast. Because the guide didn't really get into really about them so much. It was more like individual members. So they debuted in 2009. The fandom name is Blackjacks. They were the first K-pop girl group to have a worldwide tour. They broke a record for hitting the top. They were the first K-pop group at all that hit the top Billboard Top 200. Which didn't get broken for 2 years.
Yeah, they held that record for 2 years.
And then what else did we learn about them?
They were the first group to win the Mnet Asian Music Award for Song of the Year. In their rookie year. The same year as their debut. And then they released one EP and 2 albums.
Nice.
I'm sorry, they released one EP and 3 albums.
Great. That's awesome.
And it was their 3rd album that made them the first. It was the first album by a Korean artist in general ever to break into, which is like
Billboard Top 200. Yeah, that's insane. And now, like, you see it so regularly, like it's just so cool.
Yeah,
breaking boundaries, breaking barriers.
They were the originals.
Those girls were doing it for everybody. Yeah.
And so basically, at the end of I think it was around 2016.
Yes.
One of the members ended up leaving, and then the other 3 members ended up releasing one final single, which is Goodbye.
Which we did watch the MV for.
Yeah.
Which was good. And yeah, you were absolutely correct. There were only 3 members in it. I could have sworn there were 4 people singing at one point, but maybe they just had pictures of them or something.
And they were looking at the previous videos of themselves.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe I was kind of like equating it. But yeah, I think that was a great introduction because we watched their debut and then we watched their kind of final song. And I think that said too, they were inactive since like 2014 and then the member left like 2 years later.
Oh, so yeah.
Which I mean, you know, if your company isn't going to let you do anything,
right?
You know what I mean?
At that point.
Yeah, I definitely want to know more because from comments that we've gotten on previous videos, YG seemed to be kind of shady with them, and someone even said something about how that's when kind of Blackpink came out and they wanted them to be the prettier 2NE1.
Which is like, ouch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's
because I'm sorry, those girls are gorgeous.
Right. First of all, they're gorgeous.
Talented.
Ridiculously talented.
Like, and you can see that they are like
a man
this
pitting women against women. I just can't.
And you can see like the standard. I don't think it was necessarily like against each other.
No, but
at
it's
the
just
same
like
time, how do you not
some sort of competition?
Exactly. It's just so silly.
Yeah.
But I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past. Like Blackpink, they only release once every couple of years, and that's a company thing,
right?
You know, they just won't let them, which is smart in some ways because you don't want to oversaturate, but at the same time, the girls must want to, and that's why they do their solo projects and things like that.
And not for nothing, just in the history of music, like it makes sense for if you have a fire going, keep it going. Like Mariah Carey used to release one album a year since her debut. Every year she would release one album,
and I think that's like fair. Now, granted, I have never recorded an album, so I'm sure it's an intensive process. So like I'm not, but like I don't think an album a year is like out of the realm of like you know what I mean?
Like, and it really does come down to recording styles and stuff, because when we get to B's corner today, we're gonna talk about like recording albums and how long it takes and stuff, because it plays a part in it. But I think what was really like special specifically that about this group, and especially that we learned, is like they genuinely care for each other, and they care about what they put out, and they are their own fans. Like, that was so dope. So dope. So dope.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I said this in that video too. You have to be your own biggest fan. You know, you have to believe in you, and you have to believe in the team. Yeah. And, you know, so it must have been so tough for Minzy to make that decision to leave. You know what I mean? Yeah. But at the same time, if it's the situation I think it is, which again,
we don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
So I'm
allegedly,
it's from what it sounds like. Right. You know, that was maybe the only way she could release something else. So.
Yep. And it did say, though, however, that fast forward to 2022, at Coachella, they actually did a reunion. All the original members came back and they performed one of their songs. And that one song they performed was like voted by Teen Vogue as like one of the top 10 Coachella performances ever, and one of the biggest moments in music that year.
Yeah, so we're going to be checking that out at some point.
Yes, definitely. And just I think Variety also said, it was like Variety and like Vogue, I think, mentioned that it was just a highlight, and it was like a moment in music history that will like always be remembered. Yeah. So that's so dope. Yeah. Like that means like your legacy, like it shows like your impact. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I have to say, so like I've been watching Queendom, and so I've come to know Park Bom just a little bit. And I know Idol covered their song Fire, which was their first one that we watched the MV for. And I liked it, but oh man, 21 like did such a good job. Like, I don't know. Idol, I love you, but that was not it. But
I'll sit to that.
It was really good, but it just wasn't like up to like what. I mean, you didn't surpass 21, which I don't know if you can, but you also didn't do enough of your own thing for it to be anyway. But
she said what she said.
I know. I'm gonna get some hate on that one. I know. I love Idol. Don't get me wrong. I love them. But yeah, it just. I mean,
it's tricky too when you cover somebody's song as great as
20.
You know what I mean? To anyone. I've been saying to anyone, and I've also been saying 21.
Well, if you say it fast enough, to anyone, it is 21. So
yeah, I mean,
to anyone, to anyone,
to anyone, to anyone,
to
anyone.
That's right.
To anyone.
To anyone.
You know what I really like about them as well is the simple fact of the rawness that they are. And that's why like even if, you know, whatever the comment was, or whatever the I don't know if it's a rumor or thoughts or whatever it is that's out there in social media about whether YG was using, you know, Blackpink to replace them or whatever. Like, I think that's why I'm so baffled by that, because I'm like, these girls are so talented. Right off their reunion, that speaks volumes. And it's like, it's so frustrating when you have somebody this, or have a group or artist that is just this talented.
And you don't have someone who's standing behind them.
Hardcore. And again, we don't know what happened, but it's just like, it's just disheartening to just music lovers, because it's just like, they're so good. Like their talent should be celebrated.
So much more.
Yes. Like that's what I'm saying. Like missed opportunities, I think is the best way to put it. And I mean, I know you've seen it so many times, especially doing research in K-pop. Like, it's just like, I can't even imagine, like, how does that make you feel to know that, like, there just could have been, it's just like so many, like, you think about like those years from, let's say 2014 until 2022, that's 8 years. Yeah. 8 years, you could have released multiple albums, you could have went on multiple tours, you could have crossed even more boundaries.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy to think of that there's all that talent there. And the thing with K-pop is that it is so competitive, because so many new groups come out every year, and you do have to kind of like
You gotta be
constantly be releasing, constantly be touring, constantly be on social media, constantly do variety shows, constantly do whatever it is to get your name out there and keep your name out there. You know,
it's literally like starting that fire and keeping it lit.
Exactly. I know
And the crazy part is they're so fierce that their fire literally was not even being messed with for 8 years, and they came back and that thing was a flame.
Yeah. I really loved, we watched Crush live, and I loved that. Oh my God. CL is my bias for sure.
Listen.
For sure. She was killing it. Her rapping, her singing, and just like they were saying in the guide, her stage presence is amazing. I just like love female rappers. What can I say? I really love female rappers.
Listen.
Like, I aspire to be them one day, is kind of like the attitude. I can't rap and I never will be able to rap, I know. But like the attitude is like what I aspire to. Like that whole like, I am the baddest bitch, and that's when now you know.
It was that part where she was standing at the top of the stage, and it gave me goosebumps because it made me think of Beyonce at Beachella or you know, Blackpink at Pinkchella when they were like, and then she said like, "Are you ready?" And then she was like, "I know you are."
Yeah, exactly.
You better let them know like that. You can't fake that type of energy.
Nope.
You can't, because they'll clock you in a heartbeat. And it's like, that's what it is. They were so naturally good.
Yeah.
Not even good, great. They were naturally great.
And not only with their talents, like singing and rapping and whatever and dancing, but also just, there are people that are meant to be stars.
It's their presence.
It's the presence.
Or would you call it star quality? It's just
star quality, whatever you want to call it. That it factor. You know, that je ne sais quoi.
Okay. There's something French now. Okay.
Inside jokes, guys.
Inside jokes.
Sorry.
Right, inside
joke. There's just something about them that is very, very special. Yeah. And I can't wait to dive into more and like just check them out and just learn more about them. I'm so glad we did Google some stuff because again, guide great for learning about like the members and members' personalities, not so great about facts. Right.
There wasn't anything really about their actual career.
Right.
It was so really mainly about them.
Because we don't normally do that. Normally we you know, kind of do that. But yeah, in this instance, we thought we really want to like pay respect to them because they really did set the way, you know what I mean?
They set the tone, they set the everything.
The standards, you know? We can't watch this and then go watch another group that just doesn't put this out, you know what I mean? And I know different groups have different vibes and things like that, but like the level of energy that they put towards this is what now I want to see. Right. You know? Right. And that's guy and girl groups, you know?
Right. And which that's gonna be a really good say what. But like do you feel like girl groups and guy groups are bringing that type of energy, you know, in this day and age? But we'll discuss. Okay. We'll try to like think about how to word that, but like that idea, because that honestly, I feel like at the core of to anyone is that energy and that it's just something that you just like. That reminds me of when the Spice Girls were created. Yep. It's just something you can't take away. The same thing with when Green Day was created. The same thing with like Moby. Like nobody could ever be him. Like there is something that is just special about him. Same thing with Mariah Carey. Like the people that have really made impact in this world, there is something at the core of it.
You know what they make me think of, and this is a very weird thing. David Bowie a little bit.
Yeah, so eclectic and so multifaceted.
Exactly. Like they and just able to kind of do a little bit of everything and like put on a character
and make it look effortless.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I feel like
and they had Luther Vandross right back. No, just kidding. I know David Bowie did.
But Luther Vandross came down from heaven just to do some background.
Exactly.
He was like,
to anyone, I love you. Let's go.
Listen.
Yeah, they are just amazing is my takeaway.
They are absolutely incredible, and it felt very fitting for my pick this week for B's Nectar of the Week. And just to give you guys a little heads up,
yes,
B's Nectar of the Week is something I do every week. So it goes hand in hand with the artists that we feature on our podcast. And it's to give you some suggestions or give you an example of an artist who is outside of the K-pop realm but still carries that same energy, that same maybe sound or just vibe of the artist that we're talking about that week. And so how we start this off is now I let Kay give a couple of guesses to who she thinks it might be.
Okay.
And then I will go ahead and, reveal who it is and give you guys, a little bio and what songs to listen to.
Okay. So my first thought, and this popped into my head as we were just talking, Salt and Pepper.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That was I think that's kind of my guess.
Okay.
Because I was really thinking about it, and I think they have that kind of fun but intense sound, like Salt and Pepper. So that's my guess.
Okay. So do you have any other guesses? Are you sticking with Salt and Pepper?
I'm sticking with Salt and Pepper. Is that my final answer? That's my final answer. All right, Reed, just tell me what I want.
Oh, you want nothing.
Exactly.
So I have been waiting to use this group, and I purposely was like, I am only going to use it at the right moment.
Oh, no. Oh, damn it. Now I probably know.
And I was like, I can't take it back once I use it.
Okay.
Which, not for nothing, you could probably compare multiple groups. I'll probably end up renaming some of these groups further down the line.
Yeah.
But I feel like, to anyone, their music, their star power, their actual career, and because their actual career lasted for, I think it was like 6 years.
I have another guess together. Now, but I'm sure we can all guess who it is. Yeah.
Who do you think it is?
Destiny's Child. You even said Beyonce in the video.
I did.
And I was like, Beyonce. Right. Yes, exactly. But yeah, didn't.
Listen.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, guys, I'm just an aside. He may be the biggest Beyonce fan I have ever met anyway.
Listen.
Like, let me tell you. And so for him to name 21 Destiny's Child, this is a big
And
deal.
I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to give you guys their bio, but I'm going to tell you why. The main, actually, no. Let me give you the bio first, and then I'm going to explain why.
Because I can absolutely see it now that,
Yes.
Totally.
And this is, okay. So Destiny's Child is an American group whose original lineup consisted of Beyonce Knowles, Kelly Rowland, LaToya Luckett, and Latavia Robinson, while the final lineup comprised of Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle Williams. So the group began their musical career as a group called Girls Time, formed in 1990 in Houston, Texas. And after years of limited success, even being featured on Star Search and losing, the original quartet signed with Columbia Records in 1997, where they launched into mainstream recognition with their first release, No, 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 and also coming out with the second single, which was called With Me. So after the success of No, 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 the album went platinum, and any With Me and singles after that didn't necessarily blow up. But that first single, No, 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 was a huge success. So Destiny's Child first album, self-titled debut, listen to No, No, No.
Okay.
But it wasn't until the group's second album, which they recorded in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And
sometimes it just happens like that, like lightning,
Literally.
It's the right people at the right time.
Listen, their album took 2 weeks to make, and it became their best-selling album of all time for them, which is called The Writings on the Wall, which featured the very first number one pop single and their second R&B number one single, Bills, Bills, Bills. It included Say My Name. It included the songs Bugaboo,
Wow.
And it also...
What an iconic album.
Yeah, it includes Jumpin' Jumpin'.
Wow.
And again, the iconic Say My Name.
Right.
Despite critical and commercial success, the group was plagued with internal conflict and legal turmoil as Robinson and Luckett wanted to split from the group's manager, which was Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles, and cited that he was showing favoritism towards Beyonce and Kelly in the group because Kelly was actually ended up being like kind of adopted by them. She, even though like years later you found out that Kelly's mom, she was still close to her mom and everything like that. But at the time, because they were in Houston, they ended up taking her in.
All I can think is, you're my dream girl.
Yes! Right? Listen.
It's like exactly that. Okay. Yeah.
So in early 2000, Robinson and Luckett were replaced with Michelle Williams and Farrah Franklin. However, Franklin quit after a few months, leaving the group as a trio. Also, the two members, Robinson and Luckett, found out that they were replaced by watching MTV's TRL and seeing the Say My Name video and them not being in it, but their vocals are on the song.
Oh.
So that's how they found out they weren't in the group anymore.
Oh, that is shady.
Yes. So the third album they released as a trio for the first time was Survivor, which ended up having the hits Independent Women, Survivor, and Bootylicious, which Bootylicious was eventually added into the dictionary.
Yep.
And so it was like Beyonce, whenever she performs it, she goes, "Don't believe me? Look it up in the dictionary."
That's right.
Yes. In 2001, they decided to announce a hiatus as a group so they can all fulfill their own solo endeavors, which Beyonce started her, career.
Empire,
right? Michelle Williams was doing gospel music and Kelly was doing a mix of pop and R&B. And then Kelly ended up finding a huge fan base in dance music, which she ended up doing with David Guetta, When Love Takes Over. She also,
I love that song.
right?
I haven't heard it in ages.
Right. And she also did a song called Commander with David Guetta.
Nice.
And then they reunited 2 years later for the release of their fifth and final studio album, Destiny Fulfilled, in 2004, which featured the hits Lose My Breath and Soldier, and Cater to You. Since the group's official disbandment in 2006, Knowles, Rowland, and Williams have reunited several times, including the 2013 Super Bowl halftime show and the 2018 Coachella Festival.
And they were in Black is King too.
Yep, they were.
They're in.
Yes, the brown skin girl.
Brown skin girls. Yeah.
And they still stay connected through all of the, all of them having different kids, all that other stuff. Like, they've all remained sisters. Destiny's Child has sold more than 60 million records as of 2013. So that's definitely gone up.
Yeah.
Billboard ranks them as one of the greatest musical trios of all time and the 9th most successful artist or band of the 2000s. And they placed 68th in the all-time Hot 100 artist list in 2008. And in December of 2016, the magazine ranked them as the 90th most successful dance club artist of all time.
Nice.
The group was nominated for 14 Grammy Awards, winning 2 of them for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group and for Best R&B Song, both for Say My Name.
Nice. I mean, they're legendary,
Absolutely.
And not
legendary.
just because of Beyonce,
right.
they're legendary.
Right.
Yes, of course, she,
yeah.
she is Beyonce.
Right.
But, they... it's so funny, as you were saying the names, I was just kind of like singing along. So
right.
if you hear little like asides, that's just going, I'm about to put
yes.
I just like because some of the songs I haven't heard in years.
Right.
So it's just fun.
And it's just the reason I picked them mainly was just for the simple fact that in order to have that same appeal, the thing when Destiny's Child first came out, they were. People were they're different. First of all, they were one of the first groups, specifically female, to come out with speed singing. So, and Beyonce talks about in plethora of documentaries that when she recorded the No 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 remix and they were doing that speed singing, because they went to do another take and she just kind of started speed singing it as a joke, trying to get through it because they wanted to go to the mall, they wanted to go shopping, do all this other stuff.
They're we're done.
And they were wait a minute, do that again. And then, so that's why they became known for speed singing. And then also it became a joke because people couldn't always catch on to what the lyrics were.
Exactly.
And back in the day, you had to write them out.
Yeah.
So
hope that the CD booklet had them.
Yes! And Destiny's Child never did.
Oh, yeah, of course not.
Shady. But we love you.
Shady.
Especially for songs like Bugaboo.
I know.
They were like, it's not hot that you be calling me sensitive, patient, my people, yet it's not stop. Like, it's just like, what?
I know. That's one of those songs you have to like hear a million times to be like,
Right. Is that what's happening?
And thankfully, there's now the internet. So
right, for real.
Well, there was the internet then too, but it was a lot slower, people.
A lot different.
Yeah, it was a lot different. Yeah.
In our minds, it's a lot different.
Right. Because we old. Well, I'm old anyway.
Ciao. But basically, the reason I picked them is because the first time we saw 2NE1, we saw their song
Fire.
And I remember watching it and just being like, these girls are different. You know what I mean? And it was just this energy that was just coming out of them. And I just was like, yeah, they're those girls. You know what I mean? Like that has Beyonce written all over it, Destiny's Child written all over it. Like each of them, their personalities, everything. But it just came more so, not even just the sound, but just to the core. They just naturally have that it factor. Mm-hmm. And that's what we were talking about earlier. And this kind of segues into the say what section.
I know, I'm excited.
Because my question is, and again, the reason I picked them and they're so relatable to each other is like they both had the it factor. Mm-hmm. And even though they had, a short career or there was some sort of media or whatever surrounding them, drama, whatever it is, their star power like outshined all of that.
Yeah.
And they didn't have this massive illustrious career where they have like 10 albums, 20 albums. Like, no, like both of them released 3 albums each. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like to have that much input, it does remind me of the Spice Girls. They had 2 albums, you know what I mean? That really blew them up. Now, they had 3, but 2 right. that really were like, you
during
know what I mean?
During their heyday, kind of.
Yeah. So, but I feel like, and I mentioned it earlier for our Say What section, where we kind of just, palate cleanser. We'll talk about the same thing, or it might be, something different.
Yep.
Do you feel that groups in this day and age have that natural star power? Or do you feel like, and if it's not there, do you feel like it's missing the way that it was back then? Like, do you feel like it's harder to find that now compared to back then, because now you have social media and you have internet and you have all these different competitions, and whereas back then it was like you had to work hard to get noticed. So you know what I mean? Which in turn
within K-pop, I would say yes, because it's because they're very specifically put together that way. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not every group has it for sure. I feel, to me anyway, my favorites do.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely. Have whatever that is. Yes. They have it, you know, in spades. And it's for different reasons.
Yes.
You know what I mean? One is more because they do a lot of their own production, which I think is just amazing, Yes. One is more for just their stage presence. Mm-hmm. One is more for, maybe their music. One is, so I think that K-pop is very smart in how they put together their groups, and they do a ton of testing first, you know what I mean? And like mix groups up and stuff like that. So I think in K-pop,
which is why they have those camps, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when you're a trainee, you're training with
yeah.
When you're a trainee, you're training with a bunch of people, and they might like put different groups together. So they have those monthly evaluations and things like that. So they might have you perform with this person, or they might.
It almost sounds like a. You know how like the
it's like an Olympic training.
Yes. Oh, when they have like they draft people into like the NFL or basketball, and it's like you have to go through the training camp. Like that's what it sounds like. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. But and that's what they do, and then they kind of mix and match and figure out like, well, first what type of group are they trying to make and that sort of thing. Now that sounds like it can also be very manufactured, and it can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes people are chosen more on looks, more things like that. So I totally get that too.
Right.
But what I find is with the groups that I feel have the it factor, they also have that like family vibe. Mm-hmm. They also have that like we are brothers or sisters to death. You know what I mean? And they just have like that them. In spades, exactly.
And that's why I
just
feel like
from
they're
that
the
guy
same.
Watching 20 minutes of them together made me feel that way.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And was it CL or
CL was the leader.
Was she the one that was like crying saying, I really want these girls to all be...
Yes.
That like you can't fake that. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
And that's a great leader too, you know. And again, all the groups that I think have great leaders, and I feel like they're super great. You know, they may not be the person that you look at and go, they're the leader, but for that group, they're perfect.
And you know what, too, like kind of going back about the idea of like these training camps and stuff. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that is missing, just speaking from our experience with music in the US, do you feel like...
Well, here's the thing too, is that can be very manufactured. Do you know what I mean? Right. I think it has obviously it has good results and very commercial results.
It's like a form of artist development.
Right.
You know what I
mean? I don't think anything like that would ever happen in the States. I just don't ever see it, you know? I don't know. I feel like in Korea, especially, just kind of like with the culture and just like the personalities and things like that, like kind of the ingrained personalities. I think it's more, you know, they're independent, but how do I explain this without sounding like awful? But do you know what I mean? Like there's more of a spirit of like hard work, hard ass work, willing to put in all that time and effort and everything. And just like, kind of that more respect and kind of that ability to be a team, which I find is kind of lacking in the US a lot.
I do feel that,
yeah. And I mean, I know some groups are done that way. Like we have the different shows, reality shows, and things like that. So I know it does happen.
Well, even back in the day, like TLC was actually a four-member group, and then they ended up. It was a 3-member group, and then they felt like something was missing, and they actually brought Chili into the group.
Nice.
And then they released the other member, and then it became Left Eye. You know what I mean?
Sometimes
and
that has to happen too. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. But then you also have those people who just for whatever reason just pop out and they're amazing. You know. And they just have that all on their own. Yeah. You know?
I feel like, you know, just speaking from, you know, our experience with music, like, and I think of the Backstreet Boys, they were all created by an audition. NSYNC, created by an audition. Spice Girls, created by an audition.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And it's, even Destiny's Child was created by an audition that Beyonce's dad held. And it's like, it just makes me think, you know, it's like interesting, like, do people still do that? But at the same time, it is one of those things too where it can get a little tricky, because when it came specifically just to Destiny's Child, just because I was a music nerd growing up, I just researched everything. But I remember reading that like the training that they do in K-pop, right, at these like camps and whatnot, where they have to do intense dancing and vocal training and stuff like that, it's like second nature, right? You know what I mean? In the music realm of
that's
K-pop.
like being a trainee. Obviously, they still go to school.
Right. But I'm saying from like the artist. Right.
That's their job.
Whereas like, so it's looked at like that. And then like, but in the US, like Matthew Knowles got a lot of crap because they were like he was making these girls that were like 10, 12 years old jog 5 miles in heels while singing in harmony. Like, and to most people, there's a point, and it's like point
where, you know, and
it's like that's a bit, you know what I mean? And I feel like
then we're getting into Jackson 5 territory.
Listen, right, and that's like, and it's like, and it's as sad as that is, and how like crazy that is. I mean, now you have the Jacksons, you have the Beyoncés and stuff, so it's like all that hard work didn't go for nothing, but I feel like, I guess I was saying all that to say, I guess that's why I feel like it doesn't happen a lot, because we look at it differently. And also, some people just be taking it to extremes. And it's like, I feel like if you read a lot of like artists, veteran artists, and when they get asked questions about this newer generation of musicians and stuff, the first thing they all say is there's no artist development. Specifically in the US, like they all say there's no artist development. And I guess that's why I'm like, is that something that we're really lacking still or is that something like, is there a way to bring that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, and I think there is for sure. We may not have people running in heels 5 miles.
Okay, listen,
although let me tell you, like, I know a bunch of the K-pop groups, that's how they train to do concerts and stuff like that, especially with all their choreography and everything. I mean, K-pop groups just have to do everything and look amazing doing it, you know?
Damn, this sounds like like military training.
Yeah, I know. Some of it must be, but I think it's so cool. Like when you know what you want to do.
Right.
When you know what you want to do and you have that opportunity, and if you put in that work.
Clearly, look at To Anyone.
I know. It's just so crazy. They're
incredible.
So incredible. I'm so happy we found them. I can't wait to get into more from them. We need all the suggestions.
Yes, I was gonna say, give us all the suggestions in the world.
And the tea on the breakup.
Yes,
please.
Because our cups are ready.
I know, they really are.
Okay, make them flow with over.
But thank you guys as always for coming and joining us. Listen to us talk endlessly about Beyonce.
Yes, okay.
I mean, if you can, right?
Right, for real.
I mean, it's our podcast, so we can do what we want.
Okay.
No, but thank you guys so much. We really appreciate all of your support and coming and hanging out with us. We love you so much. We'll see you guys next time.